about that, some big breaking news. The Lal Batti may have gone, but the VIP mine still stays. We are bringing you a story from Tamil Nadu, where not just voters have been cheated, but residents are paying the price for the abuse of power by local councillors and their proxies. DMK women councillors who have been elected are mere dummies as their husbands run the show in the corporations. In fact, we have accessed 3 different videos where women councillor husbands or relatives are creating ruckus, threatening residents and whatnot. In fact, let's first show you this video. Well, it was released by the anti-corruption NGO. In fact, in this video, you will be able to see, there you have it on your screens, a couple of men seen abusing and misbehaving with a woman resident from this area in Chennai in the office of Sharmila Gandhi, who incidentally is the DMK councillor of ward number 34. Now, while the councillor was seen sitting in a corner without even intervening, her husband, Karunanidhi, he was seen sitting on the chair. You can see him there right in the center in yellow, meant for the councillor. So that is the councillor's chair. The councillor sits on the side. It's her husband who sits on the chair. His supporters were also seen threatening this woman resident, alleging that they are trying to extort money. The resident shot the entire sequence of events on her own mobile phone, reminded Sharmila that she is the one who's the councillor and not her husband.
சார் எங்க இடத்துல நாங்க கட்டறோம் சார் இங்க பாருங்க சார் நீங்க எங்க இருந்தோ வந்து கவுன்சிலர் ஆயிட்டு எங்க ஊர்க்காரங்களை வந்து இது பண்ணாதீங்க சார் எங்க இடம் நாங்க விட்டோம் சார் சரிங்களா கலம்பங்கள சார் நல்லது பண்றதுக்கு தான் நீங்க வந்திருக்கீங்க சரிங்களா நல்லது மேடம் அவர் கவுன்சிலர் கிடையாது நீங்க தான் கவுன்சிலர் அவர் கவுன்சிலர் கிடையாது சரிங்களா.
In fact, let's get you the second video. Here you can see G. Jagadisan, who's the husband of DMK councillor Niranjan. She belongs to ward number 51 in Chennai. He can be seen openly declaring that he was the real councillor. In fact, he picked up an argument with the police officials as well. Such was his impunity and the way in which he flexed his political muscles. These police officials were on patrol duty at the JP Coil Street in Chennai when Jagdisan, along with his supporters, heckled and abused the cops after the police officials tried to inquire as to why they were standing in the middle of the road during odd hours. Watch this. Watch how a councillor's husband is threatening policemen. Well, the third video that we are going to show for you shows just how the brother-in-law this time around of a DMK councillor and his supporters vandalizing an eatery in Pallavaram, allegedly because the shopkeeper refused to pay a bribe. So they were literally taking hafta in the name of this councillor. Well, you can see that video on your screens. Well, let's go across to Shilpa Nair, who's joining us, our reporter from Chennai. She's the one who managed to get us all these different videos of how power is being rampantly misused by the family members of these councillors. But let me also introduce our panelists joining us today. Narayan Tirupati, spokesperson of the BJP. Gokul Chandran is joining us, a political analyst, as well as Mr. C. Rajashekharan, a lawyer. But Shilpa, I must come to you first. All these 3 shocking instances which are coming in of high-handedness, interestingly not of the councillors, by the councillors' husbands and brother-in-law and the other family members of these women. Has any action been taken in any of these 3 cases?
Well, yes, Meghna. In fact, these videos came out a few days back, showing how DMK councillors and their relatives, how they create issues with residents, with shopkeepers, and even with cops. And in the case of an argument that a DMK councillor's husband had with police officials who were on patrol duty, that particular, gentleman, Jagadishan, was suspended from the DMK, and a case was also registered against him and his supporters who were blatantly abusing and heckling police personnel who were just doing their duty. Now, several such videos have come to light and several allegations, of course, are being made. And that, of course, raises a lot of questions, especially with regards to how it is the husbands or other male relatives of the women councillors who are calling the shots. In fact, when Times Now tried to reach some of the women councillors who are part of the Chennai Corporation, at least 3 of them, or at least 4 calls that we made. It was the husbands or the male relatives of these women councillors that picked up the call and they said, okay, why don't you tell us what is the issue and we will communicate to the councillor. So if this is how they address a journalist question, then imagine the plight of a common man. And several evidences have come to light which shows that how the male relatives or the husbands, manage the official affairs, and women councillors are just their proxies. And that, of course, has, raised several questions. Now, Chennai Mayor R. Priya said that if at all, such incidents have, if such incidents come to light and it is brought to her notice, the party high command will take action. And now what we're given to understand is that the Chennai Corporation is also planning to conduct a workshop for these councillors to tell them what exactly is their duty and how they must not allow others to perform their duty, because these are the people who've been elected by the people and it's not their relatives who've been elected. So clearly, the opposition parties are slamming the rowdy behavior of DMK, saying that this was expected out of them. Even in 2011 elections, experts say this was one of the reasons why the DMK lost elections, because that impression among people that DMK councillors and their high-handedness, that impression is still there in the minds of people as far as DMK is concerned. Right. The opposition party says this is expected of the DMK, but DMK says if such incidents come to light, they'll definitely take action against whoever is guilty.
Well, we are going to continue asking for answers. Hopefully there is going to be action. We cannot have this blatant misuse of a position of power. And all of this is caught on camera. Shilpa, great job getting these stories to light. In fact, the opposition has accused the DMK of shielding the corrupt officials and those who are high on their power. Listen in.
It's there in their DNA. That's what we've been saying during the election campaign, saying if DMK were to be voted to power, the law and order situation will become a big question mark, and each and every household will feel the heat of the local goons. DMK men suddenly will become goons, thugs and collection agents, and law and order will go for a toss. This we caution, and people are realizing it again. So definitely history is going to breach of law and order by the DMK men itself.
In fact, after the video of the cop being abused went viral, the DMK suspended Jagadisan from the party. A case has finally been registered against him and 5 of the others for intimidating the personnel.
There were some reports that the women councillors, the husbands and relatives of the women councillors have been taking over the duties, the functions of the women councillors, and the mayor of the Chennai city had sent a stern warning that action would be initiated if anybody is seen taking an upper hand, is trying to act in a more way than the councillor. So whatever, any issues that has been brought to the notice of the party, strong action will be taken against anybody who's indulging in such things.
So a lot of words coming out, but what about action? Well, so far, none. So let me go across first to Mr. C. Rajashekaran, who's joining us. Mr. Rajashekaran, you're also a lawyer, so you must explain to us what kind of action should have been taken against this man, for example, who's sitting in his wife's chair. The other man who says, I am the corporator, not the wife. The wife sits somewhere in the back. There are others who are demanding bribes also in the name of the corporator, where the corporators are merely mute spectators. What action should be taken against who all?
There are humpty number of incidents being telecasted on your channel, and we are also aware that social media videos have been spread with regard to DMK councillors, women councillors, husband misusing the position of their wives. So this is most unfortunate and unbecoming behavior of these kind of DMK women councillors, family members and husbands of DMK members. So the action taken by DMK High Command is not sufficient. As a citizen of Chennai city and also Tamil Nadu, I see these kind of incidents being reported in a very vast manner. So I expect the law to catch all these culprits, because they are not only bringing bad name to the government, they are also bringing bad reputation to the Chief Minister, who is doing a good job, fairly a good job. But as far
How can he do a good job if this is the state of his grassroots democracy? Mr. Rajashekaran.
Yes, I totally agree with you. I am not defending the indefensible. I agree with you, and there has to be some kind of strong action taken against all these culprits who are indulging in these kind of anti-social activity, and they are taking law into their hands. And I am also hearing many more incidents of land grabbing also. And even Congress members and Congress MLAs, citizens are indulging in these kind of activities.
So
Those
this is very
reported.
disturbing, Narayan Tirupati. If this is the state of your grassroots democracy, where the position of power, that seat of power is being occupied, not by those who are elected, by those around them, their family members, their husbands, and so on and so forth. Whose responsibility is this? Who should answer?
For this, because we have been right from the day one, the local party elections announced, we have been saying that if DMK even contest elections, there will be violence when they are in power. That was what we have been saying. We have experienced in 2006 also, because I myself have experienced personally during 2006. That is what has happened this time also, not only during elections. Immediately after the elections, there is a indirect election to the mayor or municipality president. What we have seen a lot of defections also. Either you throw money or you throw people away. That is what the we are seeing a lot of where common public.
There seems to be a bit of a problem there. We'll try and get your audio fixed. But let me go across to Mr. Gokul Chandran. And that is one of the biggest problems that we are facing. That these are proxy netas who have grabbed onto power. When it comes to women empowerment, when we talk about inclusivity, especially when it comes to political power sharing, we talk about empowerment. But how empowered are these women if they are elected and yet have no power?
Yeah, exactly. See, late Shri Rajiv Gandhi came up with this idea of women empowerment through local bodies, and now these are unfortunate incidents which are happening in South India, Tamil Nadu and all. Usually, we could see this happening in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, such states where BJP was doing this, and unfortunately now DMK is also following BJP's footsteps, and it has to be condemned. And I am glad that at least the case has been registered against the husband of that particular corporator and his associates. So government should come down heavily on such people who are misusing the power. We shouldn't
Mr.
follow.
Gokul Chandran, on what basis are you putting a political spin to it? You're talking about the BJP. When have such instances come to light where women, women who have been elected to posts have little power? Let's not forget, look at the cabinet and you'll remember what the track record of the BJP is. This is not about the BJP, this is about the DMK. And someone sleeping on the wheel.
No, we are not talking about the MPs or MLAs. I'm talking of the local body elected members of North India, especially Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. It is where BJP rules. BJP rules wherever the women councillors are there. Women councillors sit at the home. Even they don't come out of their homes. And it is the husbands of the elected councillors of BJP members who rule the roast.
Is that right, Mr. Narayan Tirupati? What Mr. Gokul Chandran says that it is not just restricted to the DMK. Women councillors across the board, across cities and across states have this listless, powerless position that they are holding on to.
No. See, this is something what we cannot accept. As if he is visiting or he is every day, watching all the states in India. He is trying to blame BJP because he doesn't like BJP. That's what he is squarely blaming BJP. As far as we are concerned, we are discussing about the atrocities done by the DMK councillors throughout Tamil Nadu. That is what they have been doing. We have been saying that right from 2006, what is happening is that DMK people are trying to create violence in the state of Tamil Nadu, threatening, intimidating the common public and getting the things done for corruption and want of money. That is what they have been doing. We have very clearly charged that DMK is doing this as a business. Councillors are doing this as a business. A small stones or sand in front of the house, these people will go there. Lot of money is being collected as every day from the shops and other things establishments. That is
Right.
what DMK has been doing. But the DMK has to take responsibility for this, and the Chief Minister has to answer this, because he has said that he will give a clean and clear government, which they have not done. Now
The
they have
Chief Minister
increased the
must answer.
property
The
tax
Chief Minister
also.
must answer is what the BJP is saying. Why is Stalin silent so far? In fact, do stay on with us, gentlemen. Let's also tell our viewers how Chennai Meha has also reacted to our story, saying that there is already a committee which will be initiating action against those collecting fines unnecessarily as well, who are high in positions of power. Watch this.
யாருக்காக இந்த பொறுப்பு வழங்கப்பட்டதோ அவங்க தான் அந்த வேலையை செய்யணும். யார் கவுன்சிலரோ அவங்க தான் அதை ரெப்ரசன்ட் பண்ணி அவங்க தான் அதுக்கான வேலையை எல்லாமே செய்யணும். அப்படி யாராவது தவறா பயன்படுத்தி இருந்தா அதுக்கான ஆக்ஷன் தலைமையில இருந்து எடுக்கப்படும். கண்டிப்பா எல்லாருமே தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டு தான் எடுத்திருக்கிறாங்க. அவங்களுக்கு தெரியும் என்னென்ன வேலை அவங்க செய்யணும் அப்படின்றது. அப்படி மீறி ஏதாவது தேவைப்பட்டா தலைமையில இருந்து இன்ஃபர்மேஷன் வந்தா நாங்க அதுக்கான ஸ்டெப்ஸ் எடுப்போம்.
So, Mr. C. Rajashekaran, if I can come to you, we just heard Narayan Tirupati saying Stalin must act. But so far, are you surprised he hasn't? If it takes times now to pull out these videos, cull out these videos, put it out, are we waiting for that to happen? Is Mr. Stalin unaware of what's happening in his so-called grassroots democracy?
See, I must congratulate Times Now for bringing this story on air and making it a debatable one, because we never expected DMK, especially Chief Minister M.K. Stalin's government and his councillors to behave like this. And the people had a lot of trust on Mr. M.K. Stalin's political acumen and his integrity. Today we are witnessing such incidents, which is very unfortunate. And the Chief Minister, in my opinion, the Chief Minister would definitely not appreciate these kind of actions by their party men, and there has to be more strong action expected from his side. I think his General Secretary, Mr. Doraimurgan, is not doing his job properly, because there are so many complaints pending, even in his own district, Vellore, where he is, and a lot of complaints of DMK workers crossing their limits.
Is that what's happening, Gokul Chandran? Is that what's happening?
Yeah. See, this is a system, you know how local body functions. The mayor has already given a warning. Mayor will be taking action. You cannot expect the Chief Minister of the state.
Why shouldn't the Chief Minister take any action, Gokul Chandran?
Listen,
that man there, he's demanding a bribe. He's on camera demanding a bribe. He is the brother-in-law of a councillor. Why should the Chief Minister not step in himself?
The system of DMK is violent. The system of DMK councillors is violent.
Mr. Tirupati, can you listen? Why are you so impatient?
Intimidating.
Why are you intolerant everywhere? Please listen.
Who intolerant?
The
The
mayor,
DMK is intolerant.
the mayor is the
And you
head
people
of
are
the
supporting
corporate.
DMK.
Ask him to shut up,
a
please.
party which is unleashing violence in the state of Tamil Nadu.
Go
Yo,
ahead,
Summa
make your
Riya,
point,
pass it
Mr.
Rikala,
Gokul
pass it
Chandran.
Rikala.
You are calling the others, you calling the BJP intolerant. However, when I ask you a straight question, why shouldn't the Chief Minister step in? Why should it be the mayor who is going to be on the chopping board?
Listen, are you a BJP member or journalist? When I talk about BJP, why are you so much hurt? Why are you so much impatient and intolerant?
This is going to be one of the top focus debates here on Times Now. We're going to come back with more on this, but with that, there is